Now, in this part of the video, we're going to talk about how MAC address filtering works. Now, things to remember is that each device has a unique reference, okay? So I know it's only 2 marks, but if you know the full story, then if it's a full marker, you know what to do. So each device has a network ID, alright? This is unique to the physical device. That makes sense. Remember when we looked at our settings on our phones in that lesson, and I showed you how you can go and look in your MAC address, alright? So that MAC address is allocated to the device. So that's point 1. I'm giving you 3 points here. Another point to consider is that on a network, MAC address filtering has an allow list, right, or a deny list, or a denied list. All right. Now these here, so I could say to the IT services, I know the Wi-Fi code, I want to put my phone on the network. They would need to add mine to their allow list. Okay. Question.
Can you call it a whitelist and a blacklist as well?
I would call it, for you, get used to it, an allow list or a deny list, alright? My reason for that is that they have obviously changed that spec for a reason, and you need to be aware of that, alright? Then, alright, the network device, the network will compare the address and act accordingly, alright? So if it needs to block it, it will block it. If it needs to allow it, it will let it through. Yes?
Well, you kind of said that in one sentence, so when you said a whitelist or a blacklist, and you can determine which devices can
As long as you've got those 3 points, it doesn't matter how you combined it as a sentence. As long as you've got them, you're fine. Alright? They don't mark you by sentence, they mark you by content, alright? Now, we're going to draw a diagram, alright, with a bus topology, alright? Now, on a bus topology, you are expected to show the main cable, obviously this is 3 marks, alright? And each computer should be connected to those lines. Now, you should make sure you read how many computers that they have specified. So I'm going to draw mine here. You draw the backbone, and then you have your 4 computers. Now, I'm going to label these, alright? I'm going to say computer, 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 computer. Now, you do not need to, alright, have a server on this. This is a 4-computer network using a bus topology. If they specify it in the question, draw the server. But if it's not there, don't do it. With a star, because that's obviously not a question here, you must have a central device, such as a switch. Alright? I'll generally go for a switch because hubs are getting older. Alright? Because hubs mean that everybody can receive that traffic. Switches are more efficient. Remember that. So they're more efficient because they make sure the traffic goes from computer A to B without distributing that network traffic to everybody, alright? Computer 1, I'm just going to say comp for this, alright? Comp 2, comp 3, comp 4. So that here, that is a star. Alright? So I've got my switch and my computers. Yes?
For the bus and star, if they ask for server, how would you add it in?
Server? Yeah. Server's not your central device. The server the server are the network services you're providing. Alright? The switch is the one that's, so remember when I showed you a picture of a switch? The switch, the job is to make sure the traffic goes where it needs to, but the server ultimately would do the control of allowing somebody to use the print devices or use the login servers and so on, alright? Now, the HTTPS protocol, just to go through this with you. The job of the HTTPS protocol is for sending, I'm going to bullet point this, sending and receiving, oh my gosh, my spelling, apologies. Sending and receiving, what are we sending and receiving? Web pages. Alright? Think about it, whenever you log onto the internet, you see HTTPS in the top corner. What does HTTPS stand for? Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And what are pages made of? Hypertext Markup Language. So you should see the link there. Yes?
Did you say that they securely transfer web pages over the internet?
By saying securely transfer, that's very vague and you've not mentioned the method. So I'm going to tell you how you could write that in a minute, alright? Yes?
Would you also say that encrypts the data?
Yes, that's one of my marks that I'm going to say, alright? So it uses encryption or encrypted connection, alright? Connection of HTTP, alright? So you've acknowledged that it's a more secure version of HTTP there. It makes sure you've got more secure web transactions. Generally, we use it for things like banking, where we have to distribute money, that sort of thing. It reduces man-in-the-middle attacks. Do you know what a man-in-the-middle attack is? Yeah, a person that intercepts data. All right, because my data's encrypted. If you're distributing information and I try to kind of like hack into that packet while it's going from A to B, yeah, you know, like you've typed in your card details and press send, because it's encrypted, the man in the middle can't get your bank details. That's why you don't put your bank details into a website if it doesn't have the S. Yes?
Do we call it man in the middle attack, or do we call it like
As long as you acknowledge that there's some interception there, they would understand that. There's no harm in the mark scheme, it's mentioned as man in the middle attack, so yeah. Or you could elaborate on that further. Yes? Pardon?
Can you just call it data theft?
Data theft, yes. Yep.
Can you just put middleman attacks?
Yep, that's fine. They'll know what you're talking about with that. So I'm going to go over here and do these ones quickly. Computer networks can be installed using wired or wireless technology. Shade 1, lozenge, to indicate the application layer protocol used for sending emails from the client device to the mail server.
SMTP?
Good, yes, alright. Think about it, the letter T stands for transfer. And what are we talking about? Sending. What's another word for sending? Transfer. Simple mail transfer protocol. So, no, simple transfer protocol. Gosh. Now, complete the table. There are 4 layers of the TCP stack. Complete the table by placing the 4 layers in the order. Now, I always remember the word ATOL. Alright? I always think of those adverts where they say ATOL protected, but it helps me remember it. And that tells me what order they go in. So I now know that 1 is application layer, 2 is the transport layer, 3 is that layer, internet layer, and 4 is the link. Now remember, that's the order it comes away from your computer. I know it's not in the question yet, so if you got a question that said, please put them in the order of you receiving, you need to be careful, because they might trick you. That's one thing that I think an exam board would do. They might say, oh, there are 4 layers, please describe the order that you would receive the layers in, if that makes sense. So just be aware of that. We have a couple of questions left, but I'm going to do this one and then split up to another one for the longer question at the back. Computer networks can be installed using wired or wireless technology. Alright? Give 3 advantages of using a wireless network instead of a wired network. Alright? I'm just going to list these. Alright? So, we can have flexibility. It's easier to add new devices if we've got wireless, alright? Because 3 advantages of using wireless. Flexibility, easier to add new devices to the network. Alright? No need to, so you don't need to drill holes or anything like that. So you've also got mobility. Easier to move around to different rooms or seats in your office. All right. You've also got no trip hazards. I'm going to go for more here. Easy guest access. Think about it. Whenever I go to another school and I meet with other staff, I always say, what's your Wi-Fi code? And they let me put my laptop on their network. Yes.
What is the area that the wireless connection is called? What's that area called where you can use like when you're running around?
It's called the area. Yeah. It's just that. Just say you can add new devices within the area. Yes.
Could you say no need for laying down cables through all the ceiling? So
I think that's what I've said. No trip hazards.
Could you say so less time?
It's the same point though. So make sure you don't write no trip hazards and cable. Do you see where I'm going at with that? Whenever you write a little bit of an exam technique, whenever you write an answer, go as far away from it as possible in your next one. Because I've seen so many people that write the same point in a different way. Yeah.
Wouldn't it also be cheaper because you're using less hardware?
They will accept if a valid explanation is given. Yes, they will accept that. Alright? But don't forget that adding new switches can technically be more expensive, so just be aware of that. Yep.
You say that it's more like compatible.
Well, yeah, more modern devices, it does say modern devices are more likely to be connected wirelessly. So you can say newer devices are usually wirelessly enabled now. So you've got a compatibility there. I'm going to stop there and do the next part. All right.